I do appreciate the question, because it allows me to try and develop this idea of diagonalization a bit, and I don't think it does fall into that trap, and I'm going to try my best to explain why I think that is. So first of all, diagonalization relies on black and white thinking in a way that I think is only accessible to the Christian. So we believe in biblical Christians believe in the creator-creature distinction. There is an absolute distinction between God and the world. That is not sort of, you don't split the difference there. There is a creator-creature distinction that remains absolute. We also believe in an absolute distinction, eschatologically speaking, between two destinies. There's heaven and hell, and you don't split the difference again. They don't mix. Now, so far that sounds incredibly dogmatic, but what that allows for is then an incredible nuance in before the eschaton. So Christians can come to any sort of cultural manifestation of culture with the full expectation, the theologically robust expectation, that whatever it is not going to be utterly evil, unless it is an overrealized eschatology of hell, which it isn't, because that's not happened yet. Nor is anything that we encounter in this world going to be unmitigatedly and 100% good all the way through, because heaven hasn't happened yet. And therefore, that means that everything is going to be some sort of mixture. Now, what that doesn't mean, of course, is that everything is 50-50. So, well, there's Russia and there's Ukraine and, there's good on both. No, absolutely not. So all that establishes is that we don't yet have heaven and we don't yet have hell. Doesn't mean everything is as good as everything else. But what it does mean is that I'm open to looking at everything, not to affirming it necessarily, but to say there's nothing that a priori, without giving it any thought at all, I ought to dismiss as that is evil, that is out of bounds. And there's nothing that I ought to say without thinking about it. Well, of course, that's brilliant, that's wonderful, because everything is a mixture. And I'm sort of trying to use Augustine for this. So in the City of God, this epoch-making, magisterial, agenda-setting text for the 2,000 years of Christian history that we've had, he's very strong on two things. I mean, he's very strong on the fact that there is an ultimate separation, that the two cities are not the same city, and there's no difference splitting third city. There are two. One of them is God's. One of them is the earthly city, as he calls it, with the fallen angels and that part of humanity that doesn't know it. And they're not sort of mixed in the sense of that they cease to be distinct, but he does talk about them being intermingled a lot in the City of God. And to the extent that we can't always discern the difference now, although the difference will become apparent in the eschaton. And I think it's that sort of nuance that I'm partly seeking to try and communicate in this idea of diagonalization. So there's absolutely black and white thinking. And in fact, it doesn't work without it, because if you don't have the black and white thinking, you've got to find your absolutes in this world. You've got to have something in the created order that sets your standard of what is good. And that is bracketed away from diagonalization. You can't do anything with that at the risk of losing your idea of what is good. Okay. Now, that's not the Christian position, of course, because for the Christian, only God is good and he is not a part of creation. And so it's the very black and whiteness that allows you the nuance, but that doesn't mean that it's always 6 of one and half a dozen of the other.